Nolan. Right, I'm here in Udupi, in fact, right along the institution. I'm standing beside an institution where the controversy just kicked off, the Udupi Government PU College. We see on the other end, hectic security that's been deployed. Section 144 has been deployed across this entire area. While we speak, we hear news coming in from different parts of Karnataka where schools have just opened up, and it appears that commotion has already kicked off even as schools open up today. In Mandya district, in fact, schools and school teachers as well as parents of some of the children had a scuffle. In fact, they had a heated argument related to removing the hijab and entering the campus. Now, visuals have come in from the Rotary School, Mandya. Teachers have been asked, teachers were asking students very clearly to remove their hijab and enter the premises, campus premises. Let me quickly cut across to Nolan Pinto, Mustafa Sheikh, both of them joining me right here, tracking those developments hectically, even as the Karnataka High Court takes up this matter. The High Court hearing begins at 2:30 p.m. Nolan, in Mandya, as expected, we are seeing this controversy only escalate to have an effect among school students. Their equation with the teachers now. Here, some of the students in Mandya were trying to wear the hijab and enter classes, enter campus, but they were outrightly stopped right at the door. Would you know if this institution earlier allowed the hijab and is now not?
Well, Nabila, in fact, that incident is actually taking place in Mandya. We're trying to gather more information as to whether the students were earlier, because you're talking about classes 1 to 10. And the government very clearly stated that those schools or colleges that had CDCs, that is the development committee that prescribed a uniform, they will have to follow a uniform. Where it was not prescribed a uniform, they can go about wearing what it was earlier, whether they were wearing a hijab or not. So we're still trying to find out information as to what was it in the past, whether these students were allowed to wear a hijab while entering classes or not, because across Karnataka as of now, like in Kalburgi and Koppal, many schools have actually allowed students to wear a hijab and enter classes. So this is the situation as of now, what's happening across the state.
Right. Nolan, thank you very much. I'm going to come back to you. Now, we know that this kind of situation would have escalated. It was something that was expected, which is why the Karnataka government has decided to impose Section 144 in many parts of Bengaluru and the rest of Karnataka, especially in front of schools that open up today. Now, after a week's lull, after it was shut down for a week, schools have finally opened up in Karnataka as per the court's direction. The court had very well clearly instructed the Karnataka government not to allow for students' education to lag. So let this issue be debated in court, but in the meanwhile, open up schools at the earliest. That was the direction given, and today, rightly so, schools have opened up. In fact, some students were also seen who were wearing the hijab and burqa were being allowed inside a Kundapura Government High School in Udupi, and they even entered the school campus. Now, we're not sure whether they took off the hijab while entering their classrooms, but they definitely entered the campus wearing the hijab. Now, in a bid to keep the troublemongers out, prohibitory orders, like I did mention, Section 144 has been imposed around all high schools in Udupi. Shimoga, Dakshina Kannada too have now imposed prohibitory orders. This means that all gatherings and agitations are banned in the area around high schools. Meanwhile, Udupi Government High School students have now submitted a memorandum to the management to start classes as soon as possible, since the examination season is only just around the corner. Students have also said that their education was being affected, and also claimed that they have seen these students attending classes without hijab. It appears that now students are pitted against the other. In fact, the students themselves are arguing with each other. Even as the Karnataka government opens up schools, a memorandum has been submitted asking for colleges too to open up at the earliest.
ಜಿಲ್ಲಾಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತು DDPI ಅವರಿಗೆ SP ಅವರಿಗೆ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಸ್ಕೂಲು ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾಗಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಶಾಂತಿ ಸಭೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿ ಪೇರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಸಭೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಸೌಹಾರ್ದತೆ ವಾತಾವರಣ ಮೂಡಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಸೂಚನೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ನನಗೆ ವಿಶ್ವಾಸ ಇದೆ ನಾಳೆ 10ನೇ ತರಗತಿವರೆಗೂ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಶಾಂತವಾಗಿ ಶಾಲೆಗಳು ನಡೀತದೆ. ಅದರ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ನೋಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಮುಂದಿನ PUC ಮತ್ತು ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಸಚಿವರು ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ನೋಡಿಕೊಂಡು ವರದಿಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಅದರ ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಮುಂದಿನ ಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳಿ.
ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಭಾರಿ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದರೆ, ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ನಮಗೆ ಇನ್ವಿಟೇಷನ್ ಇರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದರೆ ನಾವು ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, ಆ ಮೀಟಿಂಗನ್ನು ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ವಿ. ಈ ಏನು ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಇದೆಯೋ ಶಾಸಕರ ಮತ್ತು ತಹಸೀಲ್ದಾರಿನ ನೇತೃತ್ವದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್, ನಮಗೆ ಏನು ಇದರ ಮೀಟಿಂಗಿನ ಏನು ಇನ್ವಿಟೇಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಅ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್, ಒಂದು ಜಿಲ್ಲಾ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷನಾಗಿ ನನಗೆ ಏನೂ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಈ ಮೂಲಕ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಮತ್ತು ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳ ಹಿತದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ನಾವು ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗಿ ಈ ಮೀಟಿಂಗಿಗೆ ಏನು ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ವಿ.
All right, now I'm going to cut across to Mustafa Sheikh, Shrija. Both of them have been tracking the developments from Udupi itself, where I am, different parts of Udupi. Mustafa, we see that in Kundapura, some of the institutions today allowed for girls wearing the hijab, the complete burqa, in fact, to enter college campuses without restricting them outside. But whether they wore it inside classes or not, from there, we're not sure. Would you take us through the situation in terms of law and order, safety, security of all students around Udupi, this region where the controversy kicked off?
Well, Nabila, what we see here is the lack of clarity or guidelines from the government after the High Court order, because as in Mandya we are getting to see visuals where students are being stopped to wear hijab at the gate. While here in Kundapura we saw that students were allowed inside and they were asked to remove it and sit in the classroom. So there is some lack of clarity as to how schools should operate, and hence they are basically every school is having a different guidelines due to which these visuals are coming out. But as far as the law and order situation is concerned, as of now in Kundapura we are getting to see police deployment right outside the school. The situation here is peaceful. There have been no clashes or any arguments which have been reported. We saw students, not even parents were present. Students just came here, they went inside. The 10th board has preparatory exams going on for the class 10 students. So things are as of now normal, but yes, there is certain, you can say, confusion over whether it is allowed inside the campus or whether it has to be removed in the classroom. So this is something which the government may come out with clarity. But yes, we are getting to see different situations at different schools in Karnataka. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Mustafa. A quick word from Shrija too. Shrija, we know that some of the students, while schools have opened up in Karnataka, colleges still remain shut. Maybe another 3 days, possibly 17th of February, they're mulling over opening up of colleges too. But in the meanwhile, it appears some of the students of the Udupi Government College has written a memorandum to the management seeking urgent opening up of classes, saying that because of the bunch of girls who are already troublemakers, we don't want to lose out.
Yes, we have seen in the morning, few girls from, few girls who wanted to resume their classes at the earliest, and says that because of this 6 students, we can't lose our examination. Now we can gradually see that one set of the students, parents and even the school administration wanted to conduct the classes at the earliest, because some of the practical exams are also pending, and the final exams is also yet to finish. So they somehow wanted to conduct maximum classes so that there won't be any confusion. As I told you earlier, due to COVID, already they have lost many classes. So this was, according to them, this is an unwanted controversy. And the classmate who spoke to us in the morning also said that these girls, 6 girls, always wanted controversy. They every time the different times they wanted one or the other controversies. Earlier it was said that language was the problem. Later it was because that language issue was sorted inside the campus itself, then they came up with the burqa. Though these girls are trying to convince these people, they initially said that they will get convinced and they will enter the class without hijab. However, after 3 days or 4 days, these people are doubting that someone has backing them, and they suddenly came and said that you remove your bindis and bangles and all, so that we will remove the hijab. So it was like,
right.
you do this, I will do that.
Yeah, stay with us, Shrija. Stay with us. I'm going to quickly cut across, shifting focus here to Karnataka High Court. That's all set to hear this matter here. Now, as the High Court has taken this matter to a higher bench, they are going to be deliberating on multiple angles here, whether or not hijab must be allowed inside classrooms. This is a 3-judge bench which will resume hearing on the petition seeking an end to the hijab ban inside educational institutions across Karnataka. The bench is headed by Chief Justice Rituraj Avasthi, also constitutes of Justice Krishna S. Dikshit and Justice J.M. Kazi. Now, the court will begin hearing at 2:30 p.m. Earlier, the Karnataka High Court gave an interim order in which they requested the state government to reopen educational institutions. However, the court has restrained all students from wearing saffron shawls, hijab and any kind of religious flag also within classrooms until this hearing is over. But of course, remember, these are directions only to those institutions who had strict guidelines against wearing the hijab already or any other religious symbol inside classrooms. Those institutions who have allowed it so long, the direction does not go out to them. However, the court has restrained all students in the meanwhile not to create any commotion and to leave their religion outside class in the meanwhile. In the wake of the order, few students have moved the Supreme Court in the meantime, asking for an urgent hearing by the Supreme Court, saying this interim order by the Karnataka High Court infringes and violates their fundamental right to practice religion. Supreme Court, of course, we heard, shut down this plea, saying that they will not interfere. Only after the Karnataka High Court's verdict will they step in at an appropriate time. Now, I'm going to quickly cut across to Karnataka Home Minister. Karnataka Home Minister Araga Jnanendra has been constantly insisting that there is a conspiracy behind this entire protest coming from these girls who are insisting for hijab inside classrooms, saying this is politically motivated and there are vested interests behind this. Nagarjun Dwarkanath spoke to him. Let's take a listen.
ಡಿಸೆಂಬರ್ ನಿಂದನೇ ಶುರುವಾಗಿದೆ ಅಥವಾ ಹಿಂದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕೆಲವಾರು ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ CFI PFI ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಗೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಪ್ರೊವೋಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಕ್ಟೋಬರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ
ಇದೆ. ಕೆಲವು ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳು ಇದ್ದಾವೆ,
ಓಕೆ,
ಮತೀಯ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳು. ಅವುಗಳು ಎದುರುಗಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಬಂದಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳ ಮೂಲಕ ಅದು ಪ್ರಕಟೀಕರಣ ಆಗಿದೆ.
ಓಕೆ,
ನಾನು ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ರ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿದೆ.
ಹೌದು,
ಇಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಜಡ್ಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ.
ಓಕೆ,
ಈಗಿರುವಂತಹದ್ದು ನಾವು ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಶಾಲೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ವರ್ಡಿಕ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅನುಸರಿಸಬೇಕು.
ಬಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಸದ್ಯದ ಪ್ರಿಲಿಮಿನರಿ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಹಿಂದೆ ಯಾರೋ ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಇರಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಶಂಕೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಡೌಟ್?
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಳಿದ್ದಾವೆ.
ಓಕೆ,
ನಮ್ಮ ಪೊಲೀಸರು ತನಿಖೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ತನಿಖೆಯಿಂದ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ.
ಸರ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಚಾನಲ್ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಗೇಷನ್ ಹಿಂದೆ ಡಿಗಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್, ಯಾರು ಇಬ್ರು ಪೆಟಿಷನ್ ಇದ್ರು ಹುಡುಗಿರು, ಆಲಿಯಾ ಅಸ್ದಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಮುಸ್ಕಾನ್ ಜೈನಾಬ್ ಅಂತ ಇಬ್ರು ಉಡುಪಿ ಹುಡುಗಿರ್ ಪೆಟಿಷನ್ ಏನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟ್ಗೆ. ಅವರ ತಂದೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ಸ್ PFI ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಆಗಿ ಒಂದು ಫೋಟೋಗ್ರಾಫ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಟುಡೇಗೆ.
ಅಂತ ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಳಿದ್ದಾವೆ.
ಓಕೆ,
ಅಂತ ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಳಿದ್ದಾವೆ. ಇನ್ನೂ ಅದನ್ನ ಆಳವಾಗಿ ಡಿಗ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಗಳು ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ನಾನು ವಿಚಾರಣೆ ಹಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಈಗೇನು ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಳನ್ನು ತೆಗಿತೇವೆ, ಅಂತ ಸಂಘ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳನ್ನು ಎಚ್ಚರ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಈ ದೇಶದ ಶಾಂತಿ ಸುವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಗೆ ಭಂಗ ತಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ರಮ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
All right, I'm now going to quickly cut across to Farha Faiz, who is one of the first petitioners in the Supreme Court against triple talaq. Farha is also a practicing Muslim. She does not wear the hijab. I'd like to hear from you, Farha. At a time like this, when we see in fact, Muslim women across the country have stepped out in solidarity with the Karnataka girls, saying that this is our right and this is mandated in Islam, and we fear that this will have repercussions in our own neighborhood. At a time like this, how would you look at it? When Muslim women in the country today, a lot of them feel worried for their choice of religion.
Actually, Nabila, I want to mention that it is not the essential practice of Islam. It is not the integral part of the Islam. Everyone is saying, it is my right, it is my essential practice. If it is your essential practice, how can you say that it is your choice whether I use hijab or not? If it is the essential practice, so then you don't have any choice to pick up. If we can say that only 5 things are the integral parts of the Islam. One is Tawhid, second one is Roza, third one is Namaz, Hajj and Zakat. These are the 5 pillars of Islam, and these are the protected by the constitution of this country. Article 25 protects all these 5 things. But if you say that it is the integral part of Islam, it is not right. If yes, it is right. It is prescribed by the Holy Quran in verse number 31 of chapter number 24, Surah An-Nur. But before this, just before this verse, in verse number 30, the same order, the same command has been issued for the men. If the headscarf is essential practice for Muslim women, then the topi is also the essential practice for the men, Muslim men. If you are allowing the hijab or the headscarf for Muslim girls into the school premises, then you have to allow the Muslim male or Muslim boys wearing a topi, wearing a scarf, or wearing a cloth to cover his head.
Just to intervene, if you say that this is not an essential practice in Islam, we've seen many following women, many believers, staunch believers of Islam who've been wearing this for generations, for thousands of years. Where do you think that this really came up? How do you think that this culture of wearing the hijab came up?
Actually, Nabila, if we are saying that it is an essential practice and we are following this practice from thousands of years, then I want to mention that triple talaq, talaq-e-bidat, the fundamentally before introducing or the triple talaq act, or before the Supreme Court decision, everyone know that talaq-e-bidat is the essential part of the religion or the Islam, but it was not the essential part of the Islam. After the Supreme Court judgment, it has been clear that it is not the integral part of the Islam. It only imposed by the fundamentalist, by the Hanfi Fiqh only. So in the same way, if we are following the practice, following the wrong practice, if we are following the wrong practice, if we are following or misinterpreting the Quranic verses according to the fundamentalist, so we cannot say that we are bound to follow this for years to come. We want to I want to make that Islam.
Farah, you've been working with a lot of Muslim women. I know that you've been working with a lot of Muslim women. What has been their reaction to this? Do they insist on wearing the hijab because they've been forced to over the years, or is somehow they do not want to speak of this patriarchal setup, which eventually pushed them to wearing the hijab for generations together? How do they look at the hijab itself? Many of the Muslim women that you have worked with.
Actually, if I speak about this protest is supported by the fundamentalists. If we talk about the other Muslim women, most of the Muslim women are going to protest against this hijab. They always, some of the Muslim women said to me that we are going to burqa dahan. So what is it? Women are trying to come out this hijab. Right. Women are trying to come out the clutches of the fundamentalists, and we are saying that wear the hijab. The women are totally confused about this issue. If it is the part of Sharia, if it is the essential practice, you cannot say that it is my choice whether I use it or not. This is the clear funda. If it is the part of Sharia, you don't have any choice.
Well, so it all comes down to a personal choice, but is it an essential practice in Islam? Does the Quran say cover your hair explicitly? Farah, if you can clarify that. Does the Quran say cover your hair? Wrap your head with a hijab? Does it explicitly say it in the book?
No, the Quran says that be modest. Your dress sense should be in a decent way. The Quran does not say that you have to wear hijab always.
Right. It
in
merely
everywhere.
says, the book merely says, ask for a Muslim woman to dress modestly, but there isn't a real definition written down about wearing the hijab or covering the hair entirely. But now, of course, it has been an age-old practice, centuries now, that Muslim women have been practicing the hijab. Does that will that amount to being an essential practice in Islam? Of course, the court will deliberate on that and will give out a verdict soon enough. Thank you very much, Farha. Farha, I must remind our viewers, is also the first petitioner at the Supreme Court against triple talaq. Well, we're going to continue tracking the story. 2:30 p.m. is when the hearing at Karnataka High Court begins. Stay tuned for that.